Hi, this is Lisa, and you are listening to I Love That Movie. This podcast is for movie lovers. It's not an unbiased opinion, it's not a straightforward review, it's just a couple people talking about a movie that they love. The format is each week I have a guest, and that guest and I discuss a movie that they love, something they're obsessed with, something they connect with. We'll talk about the plot, the director, and the actors, but we'll also talk about the personal connection my guest has with that movie. So if that sounds like something you want to listen to, keep listening. Hello, this is Lisa, and if you want to catch up with me on Twitter, you can find me at ILTM Podcast. I'm also on Instagram at I Love That Movie Podcast, and we have a Patreon. The show is always free, but if you want to support us on there, you can. That's just at patreon.com/I Love That Movie. And every week I do share a bonus episode of everything else I'm watching that week, besides the movie that we're covering. Sometimes we have guests. We've talked about a lot of Marvel shows and Star Wars. We have fun on there. And I want to take a moment to thank my top patrons, and they are Philip Barker, Michael Cross, and Josh Johnson. Thank you guys so much for keeping the lights on. And if you like what you hear today, please subscribe and rate the show. It does help new listeners find us. So I've got a returning 3 guests on here, actually. I've got Danny, Liz, and Albie. Say hi, y'all.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, it's a 3 turning.
Yes.
The 3 turn.
I like that. Danny, if you and your crew want to kick off introducing yourselves, we'll talk about you first, and then we'll talk about the movie that you chose.
Sure. I'm Danny Gallagher, co-founder, co-writer, co-performer, co-caterer of the Mocky Horror Picture Show that's currently running at the Texas Theater. And our next show is June 29th. I'll let you introduce the movie.
Okay.
Since that's what we're going to talk about. But you can get tickets at thetexastheater.com for June 29th, where we're going to make fun of our next movie, or have fun with our next movie, I should say, not make fun.
Yeah. And you're joined by your 2 co-hosts.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Liz
Yeah.
and Albie. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, that's
Right.
fine. Yeah. Hey, I'm Liz. Nice to be here again. And I'll admit I haven't seen all of this movie yet. I'm just so like going along, watching it as we go along. But yeah, hand it over to Albie.
Hi, I'm Albie Robles. I'm a member of Mocky Horror Picture Show. I do host the Scare Me podcast. I'm typically a voice actor, but boy, I love doing Mocky Horror. It's so much fun.
Great. And normally my typical format of the show is every week my guest chooses a movie and we talk about a movie that they love. This is a little bit different. This time we're going to talk about the movie that the Mocky Horror Company is going to cover. And that movie is Captain America 1990. In case you're wondering which, it's not the first Avenger. It's the one in the 1990s.
Yeah, I was kind of wishing you didn't say the year so we could get that initial what? Because that's part of the pitch. As I say, we're doing Captain America, and they're like, "How can you do that?" And I'm like, "Well, it was made in 1990." And then they put the gun away, and
Yeah. And Disney does not come after you. So.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Always good.
Yeah.
Disney's the one that puts the gun away.
So I'm gonna, just admit here, I had never seen the movie before. I, like Liz, had not seen it. However, I discovered that it was on Amazon Prime. So anyone listening, if you want to go watch it, you can. It's on there for free if you are a Prime member. We will possibly get into spoilers, although not everyone on this episode has seen it yet. but I just want to say a quick synopsis in case you don't know who Captain America is somehow. Basically, he was frozen in ice since World War II. Captain America is revived in this movie, and he must save the President of the United States from an enemy with a tie to his past. When I was reading about this, I read that a lot of liberties were taken.
Oh yeah.
With his origin. This is directed by Albert Pune, who, if you look at his IMDb, it says he was like a pioneer in the cyborg and action era, or sorry,
Yeah, he
cyborg and
did.
action
He did
era.
Cyborg with Jean
Yeah.
Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, and he had like 50 movies, but they all seem to have that same characteristic of their B movies, right?
Oh yes.
And Steve Rogers here is played by Matt Salinger, who is apparently a big Captain America fan. And then writing credits go to the creators, Joe Simon and Jack Kirby, but also Stephen Tolkien, who, when I was reading about this, I read that like his script apparently was initially pretty good. It didn't necessarily end up the way that he had planned it, though.
Yeah, it's a mess, as all great bad movies become. It was kind of like, we want to do it this way, and well, we want to do it this way. Well, we have the money, so if we want a giant spider in it, we're going to put a giant spider. There's not a giant spider in it, but
there could have been. It
could
wouldn't
have been
that out of place. I will say, I felt like the movie started off really strong, and I'm like, this isn't so bad. And then I felt like around the part where you meet Red Skull and he has that accent that I was like, I was like,
oh yeah, his
uh-oh.
accent is something else.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of wildly like swings from Italian to almost Transylvanian at times.
Yes.
I would
We're
just
using
like
that
to
our advantage, let's just say.
I would like to say about that accent that this is maybe a good watch for all the people that were mad that they didn't have Charles Martinet voice Mario in the new Mario movie. Because it shows that having a character do that all throughout the movie isn't good. I kept waiting for Red Skull to go, "It's a me, Red Skull."
Yeah, it's a choice for sure. There's a lot of moments that I had thoughts on, but I'll turn it back. Oh, go ahead. I'll turn it to you, Danny.
That's been the so I'm not as familiar with Marvel movies as I probably should. I kind of just started getting back into comic book movies because I just got burned out.
There's a lot.
It's like 80% of the movies are based on a comic book, and then I went and I know it's problematic, but I got to see The Flash early and was like, oh, okay, now they're starting to make stuff that like everybody can.
I want to see it so bad.
It's really good, and
oh my god, yay!
Yeah. You'll. I'm dying to talk about it, but there's so many great surprises in it. So I'm kind of like just now getting, and I was like, is Red Skull even Italian? I thought he was German or Austrian.
That was
it was an Axis power. I remember it was is it Hugo Weaving that played him in the
I think you're right.
First Avenger. Yes, that's who it was.
Yeah, and I was like,
I'm not a Marvel person. Hugo Weaving play. Okay,
am I saying the name right?
That's right.
No, you are. Yeah, it's Agent Smith, and also I can't pronounce his name for the Lord of the Rings movie.
Elrond.
Elrond, thank you.
Yeah.
Owner of Cost Plus.
Yeah, I mean, he's a fixture when it comes to stuff like this. So,
like, I mean, say what you will about the I mean, I would say the Marvel movies are above average for the most part, but the first one was like the very first MCU Captain America movie was like, oh wow, you can actually do some cool stuff with this. It's not just the same superhero stuff we've seen. And
yeah.
But I don't think you'd have that without this because it gets everything wrong.
Very true. I loved the first Avenger movie. I thought it was
wonderful.
great.
It's so good.
Yeah.
But what if instead of that movie, and instead of all the cool stuff Captain America can do, he mainly just punched people or pretended to be nauseous? Because that's what I noticed.
It's a choice.
I was like, so much punching this whole movie. Like,
yeah.
I was
And-
like, please use the shield, and he uses it a couple times. One of the times I don't know. Anyway, I'm talking too much. I'm gonna let you guys take. I have a lot of thoughts, but
I don't think we've gotten to the punch. I think we've just started getting to the
what we've
the
seen
big
from him
fights.
so far, action wise, is that he went into a place and immediately just got tied to a rocket and sent away.
Yeah, it's
There wasn't a whole lot of fanfare. It was just like, all right, now you're tied to the rocket. I don't think
Right.
they cut to it even. They just didn't even show us.
Oh man.
I don't think a lot of people
Yeah.
know that Wile E. Coyote is the main villain of this movie.
I don't. Danny,
Go ahead,
Albie,
Liz. Sorry.
have you seen this to the end? Like I'm just watching along like as we're going,
That's
and I
all
thought
I've been
about
doing.
watching.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
not to
So
watch
I
ahead
like
either.
the surprises of it. So yeah, maybe we should have watched it to the end to discover. But like yeah, it's
It's kind of a
yeah. He
slog.
hasn't had a ton of agency yet.
Yes.
As far as like at the midpoint.
agreed.
For an action movie, it's
Mhm.
like it's waiting too long to fire.
I felt like he's out of the suit too much. Yeah, like
Yes.
well, it starts very dark with it's
Yes.
in
Yes.
Italy, and that kid's parents get like wasted in front of him by Nazis.
Yeah,
then they're
his
like,
whole
"We need-"
family and friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
They're
it
like, "We
literally
need
cuts
his-"
to like the California suburbs or
Yeah.
something like I think. It like literally
Yeah.
goes it speeds ahead and they're like, "Oh, she got over it."
Yeah, and I
Like,
do think that would
eh.
make anyone bad. I feel like,
Right.
also like what they say about the little boy, they're like, we need his brilliant mind. And I'm like, he's a kid. Like that surprised me that specifically this little boy needed to be used for this
Oh,
experiment.
there's a deleted scene.
Oh, really?
When the Third Reich tests the little boy and finds that his midichlorians are like sky high. And no, they just don't explain. They just say, we want this kid. He's super smart.
Yeah. But
He scored very high on the written SAT and
But-
the SATO, the Italian SAT.
But
If
you're
I'm
right,
talking
it
too
then-
much, go ahead.
No, you're fine. And then
Mhm.
it shifts towards sunny California or whatever all
Yes.
of a sudden,
Mhm.
which is weird. And then yeah, most of the movie, like after they thaw Steve out and stuff, I thought it was funny, like too, they thaw him out and then he's doing stuff and he's like already in the newspaper, like really quickly. Like this guy's thawed out. And
Oh wait, yeah, yeah, that's right. Okay. We've just
yeah.
finished that part.
okay.
Yeah, they kind of had no problem just immediately publishing a picture that someone sent that said, "Hey, this guy was asleep for 1,000 years," and then
Yeah, and nobody interviewed
Okay.
nobody like talked to him or interviewed him. It's just
Yeah.
we got this picture of this guy. I mean, he must have been here for 1,000 years. It's not 1,000, it's like 60 years, I think is
Yeah.
Did in the sun.
right. Yeah.
So
And nobody go ahead.
oh no, I was gonna say, have you seen the moment yet where that guy's like driving him in the car and then he's like, I'm gonna be sick, I'm gonna be seasick. And he
No,
like pulls over.
I think we're
And he-
just up to that.
that's
Okay.
funny.
Well, he pretends to be ill. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, where is this going? Like, I mean, in the 40s or whatever, there were cars. I don't understand why this car ride's making him so nauseous. So the guy pulls over and Steve Rogers pretends to go out of the car and pretends to almost throw up. And the guy goes to comfort him. And then he runs back to the car and takes it over and leaves the guy there.
Oh,
And
Oh.
I'm like, that
Oh wait, is that Ned Beatty? Is that Ned Beatty you're talking about?
I'm not sure, but
Like the
The
reporter.
reporter.
character and
yeah.
that's funny.
And I'm like,
Okay.
my thought is
That's
like,
hilarious.
That's a spoiler
Yeah.
for us. We're like
I'm
just up to that
sorry.
point. No, it's
No,
fine.
it's
We
okay.
would have watched it.
Ruining Captain America 1990 for us.
Yeah. I'm thinking like, okay, that doesn't make him seem very heroic. It seems,
Right.
I don't know, it's weird, and it happens twice. He does it again later to like his modern day girlfriend. So
Dude, just
2
ask for a
times in the
ride.
movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why
Tell-
can't he just
tell them
say,
where you
I
need to
need the
go."
car? Like, I don't understand why he has to pretend to be nauseous.
Also,
twice.
at this point, he's thawed out in Alaska and he walks back to America. And And
Well,
Ned,
he steals a truck apparently too.
well,
That's
it-
before he
wa-
realized he could pretend to be ill to get.
he walks back to Canada, and Ned Beatty, for some reason, I forget how he finds him. He drives up to him, and I'm like, wait, Captain America walked that whole. Couldn't he have just taken a car in Alaska?
I guess, is that part of his super strength that he can
Obviously not. He's
walk a lot?
tired. When we see
That's
that he's
true.
walked across half the continent, he's and I'm like, couldn't you gotten a car? Like, you could have stolen is there no cars north of like Ottawa?
No, I'm just
Okay.
kidding. I don't know. But yeah, I
He
just
doesn't know how
thought,
to.
I like that immediate answer. No.
Yes, no.
No.
Your premise makes sense.
yeah, I just thought him doing that twice, it just rubbed me the wrong way. I was like, I don't want to
Yeah.
see a hero, using that method to get cars. It feels like he's like gaslighting people instead of just, I don't know, like asking for help or doing heroic things. And yeah, there's a lot of punching, and I don't know, I'm just like, throw some kicks in there. But maybe it's because I'm comparing it to like modern day superhero movies where there's just so much choreography.
Right.
We're just like
Mhm.
spoiled now, I think.
I mean, we have
I think it's not
Oh.
quite about that. I think yes, like the hero movies today have all these a lot more effects and a lot better action sequences and whatnot. But there is something to be said just about the quality of something, because there are movies you can go back to watch that were from that time, that were just incredible movies. Like this was around the time, just a little bit before we got Jurassic Park. And if you look at some of the
True.
other movies that came out the year Jurassic Park, there were some terrible, terrible movies that a lot of people excuse. Well, it's because of the time, but I've seen movies that came out, in 2001 where the effects didn't hold up the way Jurassic Park does. And
Right.
so it's just a matter of the effort put into writing, who you get to direct, and having some type of cohesive vision, because some of these movies are a mess, and it's not because of when they came out. Sometimes they're just a mess.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. This is like after Superman and Batman, so
That's true. Those were both excellent.
right.
Yeah, like the attention to detail, like it's just that little newspaper montage part where it's going through the 40 years.
That's
and
long.
like, yeah, and it's just like, I don't want to spoil our little jokes and stuff for that, but there's a bunch of typos in that, and it's just incredibly lazy. Like,
they didn't use the AP method or
no,
whatever.
not at all. It's so bad.
That's
They
so
didn't
funny.
write the stories to go, and I work in newspapers, so like I try not to be like I'm not a grammar Nazi because I write, I'm a sloppy writer, but like they do a close up and you can tell that the text under the headline is not it's a different story.
That's really funny. I
They
didn't
would
notice
have
that, but I
They
they
love
would have
that.
better off if they just left it like lorem ipsum upim, whatever it is when you click text on Photoshop and it just gives you a
Lorem ipsum.
lorem
Yeah.
ipsum. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I like that it was a story. Like one of them was about a story that something happened between one of the Padres and his wife, and he went to jail. And I was looking at the actual story. I was like, oh, a Padre
Yeah.
went to jail.
well, you get a clue of like how this movie ended up, and watching it, I promise I didn't know this before, but while I was watching it, I was like, this reminds me of a canon movie. And when you
Yes.
read
Oh my
about
gosh,
the
yes.
No, it totally is a canon movie.
and it
Yeah.
is, yeah, that's
Yeah.
because it is, because Golan left canon in 89, and then he was able to carry over the rights of this film. And he worked with Tolkien on the script, and then got director Albert Pune to direct it. And so I was like, well, no wonder it has that vibe, because I really picked up on that. I feel like I have to credit How Did This Get Made for even knowing who the canon group are. I've watched the documentary too, and
I want to see that
interesting
documentary,
stuff.
and that's one of my favorite podcasts. I've listened to every single episode of that.
Yeah.
If How Does It Get Made, it's fantastic.
I will say for this movie though, I love the look of Captain America. Like, I think casting wise, he looks really good, like I feel like it maybe, I don't know. might have influenced them picking. I mean, this is like
Oh,
not, yeah.
to Chris
just-
Evans.
Yeah, like I think Matt Salinger definitely has the look,
He's a
down.
good fit for it. And I'll say
Yeah.
also, you can tell that they watched this movie in preparation, because the scene of him becoming Captain America, while it's done much better in the other one, it is more or less the same steps
Yeah.
Mhm.
of what happens, right down to then here comes this guy who snuck in and ends up shooting at some people or whatever. Like it's like they took that scene, which was, it kind of almost works in this, and they said, all right, this could be really solid if we work on it. And they polished the crap out of it and made it into something really cool. So I think the influence of this movie is definitely in the other one, but just done better.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you got to take a character that, I mean, you can't really have his origin be now. It has to be in World War II, just by the nature of who
Right.
he is. So how do you get him
Mhm.
from World War II to now? Because my understanding, I don't know for sure, but I would imagine that in the comics, he takes that, like maybe his stories take place in during that time. I don't know. So it's like, how do you get it from then to now? So maybe they stole it from this movie, or not stole it, but paid homage.
Well, I mean, the whole first movie of Captain America: The First Avenger is in the 40s, and
Yeah.
so that
Right.
he doesn't get into the other movies until later.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think there is something to that. I think there is something to be said that that he has to be a product of his time.
Yeah.
He's definitely a guy who was made to fight Nazis. Just the name Captain America alone is not something they would create today.
Right.
There's so much such a different political climate that I like that throughout the MCU he kind of doesn't fit in because of that. He struggles with fitting in.
Yeah, things are more black and white, when he's a hero, and now they're nuanced, and that character evolves in the Avengers movies like that, struggling to figure out what he believes.
Oh, yeah.
But he's
Mhm.
best, punching Nazis, so which we all love.
I mean, in
did-
fact,
go ahead.
one thing that I could say that I love the change, because it just, character wise, it is questionable. Like how do they make this guy, and then immediately they're like, let's make him a hero. And I like in the newer
Yeah.
movies he kind of had to earn that, and that he had this costume because of he was doing a stage show to entertain the troops, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
And
He was
I
like
I
he was
love that.
he was McGruff for World War II in the first
Yeah.
Avenger.
I was
He
gonna
really
say
was,
Mickey Mouse,
which
but
was
you're right,
hilarious.
McGruff.
Which I was
Right.
like, that's cheap. Like I love that beat.
And he put
Was
on
that-
one of the girls' helmets because they had the A logo on it.
Yeah.
That became part of his uniform, and yeah, just how cool that all was. That, and it explains this, what would otherwise be considered a pretty silly uniform, but both the uniform looks cool in both movies. But I like that it's explained in a better way in that newer one.
I forget how they make the costume in the Alfred Pune one.
They just said that the scientist woman made it, and that she likes
Oh, so they didn't. Yeah.
that she loves the red, white, and blue.
Oh.
I noticed too in
okay.
this one, a dark kind of origin for Steve Rogers is that he was weakened specifically by polio, which is obviously not in the first Avenger movie.
Oh, we missed
I-
that somehow.
if-
Or
if-
Yeah,
that's
they mention it, and I was like, oh, that's
Oh,
If they
I-
mentioned it, I've
Interesting.
forgotten.
Yeah,
I
I
mean-
thought it was an injury, and so I didn't notice
yeah,
that.
like maybe like a war. That's an interesting yeah, like a background color
Yeah.
for him. And I guess yeah, I'm not a big MCU person, so I guess usually Steve's stories, he's kind of a fish out of water.
Yeah.
In the other one, he was just very
Yeah.
scrawny.
Yeah,
in
but
the
he
other
was
I
one.
feel
Yeah.
like they
but
really
yeah.
sanitize like who he is in the first Avengers. Like
Mhm.
I feel like, they don't really mention or show Nazis, and Hydra is really replacing that completely. Like they
Right.
don't go into any sort of political ideology at all. And I think
Mhm.
part of that too is like even removing something like him having polio. Now, I don't know if the original character had that, but it stood out to me that like in this 1990s movie, I mean, they say Nazis, the Italian thing and fascist government stuff and, him having polio, like they're not really sugarcoating stuff. And like,
well, it's in the 90s now, so we're not
yeah.
really.
And
No, I mean,
Red
we're
Skull's
not.
name
We're
is
not.
DeSantis. Did y'all notice that? That I don't
Which
know,
one?
stood out to me. Red Skull, his name, because they name him in it. His name is just like DeSantis.
Oh.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I mean, I'd buy that. Where is it? I'm trying to find it.
Yeah, no, I'm remembering that somebody calls him Mr. DeSantis. Like,
Yeah, like
Oh,
they
okay.
don't
Yeah.
call him Red Skull a whole lot. I mean, they call him,
yeah.
and like he gets that
Oh
weird.
God, we need to go back and
Yeah, I noticed that. I was like,
lean into
huh.
that.
And also, like later, I guess this is a spoiler, but
Oh, his daughter. That's where the name is. His
Oh,
daughter.
okay.
His daughter, who was in the 1990 Valentina DeSantis.
Yes, Valentina
I didn't put that
DeSantis.
together. That was his last name. So
Yeah,
okay.
and I don't know if she's a character later, but I thought it was also interesting. I'm sorry, I'm like really rambling here. Another weird thing about it is that I guess like what he wants to his big gripe is that the American president, Red Skull's biggest gripe, is that the American president is so pro environmentalism. Like that, I thought that
Yes.
was interesting too. Like,
Well, there's
wow,
a
what an
whole
interesting plot.
the movie takes a whole season of The West Wing and basically condenses it down to like
Yes.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
So one thing that really one thing that annoys me about this movie is they cast one of my favorite actors, Darren McGavin,
Oh,
who played the
General
old
Flynn,
man.
yeah.
Yes, who played the old man in A Christmas Story, and they also cast his Melinda Dillon, who plays Ralphie's mom.
Oh wow.
Early
Yeah,
on.
it's so weird they're
that.
both in there. Yeah, she's Steve's mom, I
And
think.
and I mean, I love I just Darren McGavin's like not just Christmas Story, like I don't know if you remember Kolchak the Night Stalker, which was like basically like a pre X-Files type show, and yeah, and Darren McGavin is like, and here's a spoiler, sorry. 1 minute he's a general, and then the next minute he's a double agent. Like literally
Also-
from scene to scene. It's like there's just we gotta get this angle in early so we can pack all the action to one side of it and not have the politics bog us down, which actually could help
Yeah.
this kind of a movie.
I noticed too, like I didn't think about it when I watched it because he's older than how I'm used to seeing him, but
Yeah.
the younger version, I guess, of Fleming is Bill Mummy.
Yes.
Will Robinson from Lost in Space.
Oh, okay. I did not put that together that
Yeah.
was okay. That makes sense. But again, they don't see. I thought those were two separate characters. I didn't know Bill Mooney was playing. No, I really didn't know that he was playing the younger version of Darren McGavin.
Yeah, it says that, but I didn't notice that either until I read that.
I didn't realize that
Young
either.
General
Because we
Flynn.
watched the movie and there's a scene that establishes
Wow.
the president, played by Ronnie Cox, as basically Al Gore.
Yeah.
And is like pro, and then the very next scene he's a double agent. I'm like, why do they just cram that in? And they're like, oh, the movie expects us to know that Bill Mooney was a double agent. It's so. If I try to explain it, it's just so. There's a scene where Bill Mooney and the double agent that kills the scientist in the origin scene. Bill Mooney's like his helper, I guess, or his aide or whatever. But they never establish if Bill Mooney is a double agent. So you don't think about it. So first of all, you're not even thinking about him. You're thinking about whatever's in front of you. This movie just does not explain anything. It just expects you to know.
I was thinking like,
what's going on.
How is Captain America gonna end up getting frozen? And he gets like blasted off in the rocket and then lands in Alaska, I guess, is how he gets frozen. I was like, oh, okay.
Because he was shot in an ice rocket.
That's right. Okay.
Because if he was shot from a rocket that delivers heat, he wouldn't be able to get frozen.
And that's when Red Skull loses his hand, right? Like
Yes,
Luke
I think so.
Skywalker style or whatever.
I'm being sarcastic with the ice rocket.
Yeah.
And also,
But-
how do you get frozen in a lake? Isn't like I always thought it was the Arctic where Steve Rogers got frozen.
I don't know. You're
Like-
not talking to a Captain America expert.
Oh,
Patty.
okay.
Say that
I
again.
wish I knew.
What are you asking?
I always thought it was the Arctic where Steve Rogers.
Oh,
is
I see what
frozen.
you're saying.
Nobody
Gotcha,
gets
gotcha.
frozen in Alaska unless you're a moron.
I guess it had to be like close to America somehow.
Yeah, because I mean,
or-
in both movies, he misses a target in America, so it makes more sense for it to be up there.
I see. But
How far? I mean, Alaska, and there's a whole country between Alaska and Washington, D.C.
that's true.
Yeah, it would make more sense to be up north in Canada somewhere. It's pretty big.
I guess they just have to
Greenland, it could
emphasize
go
it's
to
really
get-
cold.
Could hit
Right.
Greenland over there. Yeah, I mean, I think people generally associate Alaska with that. It's just the easier
Okay.
for the public to swallow.
I mean, but we know where Antarctica is. It's not. Again, this movie just doesn't.
You'd have to miss by a lot more, though.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, Alaska became part of America, so maybe that's why.
Ooh, maybe it became
Oh.
America when he hit it.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
that
like
makes sense.
an automatic thing.
He planted the seed.
Yeah.
I get hung up on these little things with this movie because I don't understand it. Like it's something like this movie throws so much at you. I can only hold on to one thing at a time.
Yeah, it's yeah. Also, I don't think we've talked about his suit yet, but it's like made of rubber. So he's like freaking sweating up a storm in there and apparently like lost weight during the movie because he was so exhausted in there. And
Oh, poor
they had to,
soul.
like-
Oh my gosh.
yeah. And I think
I heard.
oh,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I heard that happened to Michael Chiklis when he played the Thing in the first Fantastic
Oh,
Four,
really?
which he
Ugh.
was insistent on. Like he didn't want to do computer effects; he wanted a realistic suit.
And then he's like, never mind.
Well, no, and then he had to shoot it. He just had to endure it. And so when they did
Yuck.
the sequel, they made sure there was like air conditioning in the suit.
Yeah.
And the second one is awful. So he should have just not put I blame the air conditioning for the Silver Surfer.
Yeah. Well, this movie looks hot to me too. Like when
Mhm.
they're in LA and then later they're in I mean, I think it's supposed to be Italy, but it's former Yugoslavia. It looks real
I'm not
hot to me.
sure.
Well, what's happened to me with the costume is this weird thing that it's kind of, I can't see it any other way now. There was a particular shot early on when he's riding on to go on his first mission and he's on a plane, and it just looked like it's hard to describe over a podcast, but it's almost like the parts where you could see his skin kind of around his eyes and around his mouth. It's like those were the only parts that had skin, and they were just kind of pasted over a blue head, and
Yeah.
it's like it's backwards from what the costume regularly is. And once I
Yeah.
thought that, I can't look at him in any moment in the movie and not see that. That's all. That's
Yeah.
the only way I can see it now. It's so
Yeah,
strange.
once you said that, it's uncanny.
To me,
Yeah,
it
it
looks like
does look
they
like
made
that.
a Play-Doh suit and put him and put it. It really does. It
I can
looks
see
like
that.
it's a cheap rubber, the cheap monster rubber that they'd use to like in like what's the not Brain Damage.
He's part of the Gumby family.
No, I'm thinking of it's the guy that made Basket Case. It's that cheap rubber that like they use to make monsters in B movies,
Yeah.
but they turned it into a suit,
Yep.
Oh my
which
gosh.
I mean that's resourceful. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
You haven't gotten there yet, but he has, the girl in the movie. But it doesn't seem like she needs to be there, and he's constantly trying to ditch her because I guess he's trying to keep her safe, but you're like, I feel like they could just take her out of this movie. But they do this thing I was telling my husband in the 80s and 90s where when they have a female lead, for some reason they think that audiences want to see them argue. like, and
Oh,
banter
I know
back
what
and
you
forth
mean.
constantly. Like,
That's
Mhm.
kind of an 80s thing, I think.
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
like, that's annoying. Like, it makes me think, I wish she wasn't here, instead of like, isn't that cute how they can't get along or whatever. I noticed that in the movie.
Are
And
you
I was
talking
like,
about the daughter? Ritz Girl's
yeah,
daughter?
yeah.
Okay.
Is she
Oh, so it
supposed to
becomes a buddy
be,
picture.
yeah, is she supposed to be like his old flame's daughter, like in the Marvel movies, or is she just some lady?
Who
I
knows?
couldn't figure that out, but
Again, I didn't know that Darren McGavin and Bill Mooney were the same person until about 10 minutes ago. I really didn't. Did
That's
y'all know
so
that?
funny.
Liz, Albie?
No, I didn't
Okay.
pick up on that at all.
Yeah.
No. Lots of confusion in this film.
That's the other,
Yeah.
going back to that. So Bill Mooney's partner, when he's a young soldier, doesn't just kill someone, literally yells "Hi Hitler" and kills someone. And nobody thought to question him and make
I
sure
know.
like he's okay. And now it's like, well, what, that was just a fluke. I mean, let's make him a general.
No, I assumed he was dead. God. Okay.
Okay, I'm reading here. I think the girl is, let's see, a childhood friend of, okay, it says Sam Kolowitz, a reporter of childhood friend Kimball, who has long hounded the skull and hitchhikes his way back to wartime girlfriend Bernice in Redondo Beach. While Bernice
Oh, that's the
lives,
girl from the beach
Yeah.
scene. Okay. See,
Yes.
again, there's the characters get thrown away and then they come back and then wait,
Yeah.
we need them. Put them back in this scene.
she's
It's-
married and she has her own daughter Sharon, who gives
Mhm.
Rogers okay. So she's still a daughter of somebody, but Bernice's daughter. Okay, I did not pick up on that's who she was. And Bernice is the lady that like created the
Yeah.
myth, turn people into super soldiers, and for some reason turned Red Skull into what he is instead.
Oh no, Bernice is
Oh no.
like Steve's girlfriend at the beginning, I think.
Oh, okay. So she's like Peggy
Yeah.
Carter, kind of.
She's like the I'll
yeah.
wait for you girl in the
Okay, that
in
is
World War
such
II
a
movies.
weird thing that writers do, where they're like, if you're in love with someone and you can't have them because of a time jump, you'll just date their daughter. I think that's very
Yeah,
strange.
it's such a weird trope. It's kind of
It's-
icky.
Yeah, it's icky.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's like one step away from them dating their own kid almost. It's just very strange to me.
It is.
God, you're right.
And it's in the new movies too. Like, why?
It's in Austin Powers.
Yes, I was just
That's
thinking
right.
that.
Austin Powers.
Austin Powers.
Mrs. Kensington.
For some reason, I thought of Bicentennial Man, which nobody
Yeah.
wants to see again, but that it happened there.
And I get that
Robin
they
Williams
remain,
dates the
Yeah.
owner's daughter.
and I get that
Owner's
they
second
remain like the same age, but it's still icky. It reminds me of like,
Yes.
I don't know, like becoming old and going like, well, you're old now. I kind of wish you were like how you were. Oh, your daughter. I'll just date her. It's like very
Same
strange to me.
diff.
Yeah, it's like
Well, does
not the same.
Steve Rogers in the MCU have a similar?
I think so. Like, I think
Relation-
that there's
is-
like an animated movie I saw where she dates like his son or something, and I'm like, no.
Oh, you're
Reject
talking about the
that.
other way. You're
Oh,
talking about
yeah,
Peggy, Agent Carter dates Steve Rogers' son.
No, like what's Wonder Woman's boyfriend's name? Chris Pine. What's
Oh, yeah, Chris Pine. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, never mind.
yeah, what's that character's name? It's
I don't remember.
I'm gonna look it up. Wonder Woman's boyfriend.
He was, I think his Wonder Woman's boyfriend is his superhero name.
Steve Trevor. It sounds just like
Okay.
Steve Rogers. That's why I thought of that. Couldn't remember his name, but
I
there's
haven't
like
watched it in years, so I don't
Yeah.
remember his name yet.
there's like an animated movie where she kind of does something similar to Captain America, where like Steve Trevor has like a grandson or something that she dates. And again, I'm just like, I don't understand why this is a trope, why we've chosen to accept this in pop culture. Like, I just don't get it. But
Oh, it's because she reminds me of her.
yeah, it's like, it's creepy.
I'm so in love with her that I can overcome the creepy factor.
Yeah.
Someone
That's
that makes us
love.
think of her, we'll make do.
Yeah, it's like, I'll take anyone that vaguely looks like the person I used to
I
like.
just realized superheroes who date the daughter of the woman they lost is as morally objectionable as when Rick kills Morty and clones Morty and replaces him.
Right. Yeah, it's
It's the
just
same moral level.
psychologically just not okay.
Right.
But Danny, I think you mentioned before we started recording you had some insight or thoughts about the production of this movie.
Yeah, so Alfred Pion, which just a little backstory from us on how we picked this movie.
Okay.
We just did Super Mario Brothers, which was our best show ever.
Oh,
best
great.
new show ever. And then we did Reefer. We brought back Reefer, and it was great too. And we added some new stuff. And then we're like, we want to do another movie. And I remembered early on, we did like a kind of just an improvised riff on Twitch with Roger Corman's Fantastic Four
Nice
movie. And we're like, let's get that. And so we called, email Barack Epstein, and we're like, let's do Fantastic Four. Can you get us any, he's in the business. He knows how to get movies. And he's like, I have no idea who owns this movie. And I'm like the most stubborn person in the world. I'm like, well, I'll figure it out. And so I start researching. And so Roger Corman, long story short, he had the rights to Fantastic Four when Marvel Comics was basically broke. And he was going to lose the rights in about a month. So he shot a really super slapdash Fantastic Four movie that he never intended to release. So he could hang on to the rights a little longer. But then the rights changed.
Yeah.
But because the movie was never released, nobody's really sure who owns it.
Interesting.
And I'm like, I still want to do this movie because it's perfect. And I know it would be a big get because it's kind of like a cult movie. It's since been released on like Blu-ray. And I'm sure that like the Blu-ray is like a copyright of a copyright kind of a thing. And then I came across this movie, and then I just was like, I give up. Let's just do this one. Because this one's bad in its own way. First of all, it got released, so it's like good enough to be a movie. But it's just cheesy enough that we can make fun of it. So yeah, so basically the reason this kind of movie was made because Marvel rights were kind of up in the air. And superhero movies were going down from Superman 3 with Richard Pryor, great casting, to Superman 4, which I remember seeing in the theater and was absolutely god awful, and that tanked
so bad.
And then Masters of the Universe was supposed to be the big, like, okay, we'll bring the superhero movies back, we'll go to another medium, and that tanked.
I've covered that on this show too.
Yeah. Which I don't remember. I saw it when Master Pancake did it. That was the last, and that was 20 years ago. So I don't really remember how bad or good it was. But it's kind of in the same vein of like, let's take something that the kids love and turn it into a big live action movie. And so basically it's kind of the same thing. Like they had these rights. Canon Films had the rights to make a Marvel movie. They just bankrolled the fourth Superman film, which sucked. And they're like, okay, we need another superhero. Let's try Captain America. Mm-hmm. But nothing went right.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, there are things to like about this movie. It's similar to the Masters of the Universe movie where like, it's not a good movie, but there's things to like. And so I still enjoyed watching it.
We haven't found that yet.
Well,
we may be too close to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're watching it like a bunch of times, like trying to write all the
So like
yeah.
And like, I mean, every movie we do, we kind of like it on some level. And by the time we finish with this, we'll probably have something to like about this.
What's your favorite of the movies you've covered? Like, what's your favorite one that you genuinely go back and go like, I had the most fun making that one?
Depends on, well, for me like I love House on Haunted Hill.
Oh yeah, it's a
Yeah,
great
that's
one.
probably the
Vincent
best
Price.
made movie by far
Oh,
that
yeah.
we've done.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
It was just fun to watch, and but the effects are cheap, so it's kind of, and we were kind of starting out, so we didn't really know like how do you we were learning like it's not just making jokes about a movie, like you have to actually have some reverence for it, and you're not really making fun of it, you're having fun with it while you're making fun of it, I guess, kind of thing. And House on Haunted Hill was like ambitious for me because it's genuinely good, but it's
Yeah.
just cheesy in all the right places. So like I knew like, oh, we can make a joke with this or that or whatever. That's my favorite.
That's
I mean,
great.
I've done less movies with them, but there are just some parts of the Super Mario Brothers movie that, while I think it was a terrible adaptation of a game, there were some parts that were genuinely funny, and the like the production itself is it's really well produced. Like the sets are huge and the props are well made. It's all a very ambitious movie that somehow went terribly wrong, but there's a lot to admire in it.
I think Liz is gonna say Mac and Me.
I think so.
you know
I
me
think
too
Right.
so.
well. Yeah, that was an
Yeah.
interesting. Like, we did some new things with it. That's the first one Albie did with us, and like, but yeah,
Yeah,
just
that's
because
right.
I had that nostalgia for it too. You're right. Yeah, that had a different, yeah, hit a little bit different for me, and I think we'll become fond of Captain America 1990 as we go along. One thing I do find sort of endearing is like when Red Skull's daughter was pursuing Captain America and they're in the helicopters with that soundtrack. I don't know if you remember that part, but like
Oh my.
And
Yeah.
we're bringing back Mac and Me. We're doing it
Yay.
again on August 31st.
That was good. That
Yeah.
actually made me like Mac and Me more. I have to say, like, I think, I've seen like the
Well, it's got nowhere to go but up.
right, that's true. I found it hard to sit through before, but
Hmm.
watching it again and talking about it, I feel like I found it more endearing this time, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, there's things to like about it. I can't remember them right now, but um, I'm trying to. What was it? There's one scene I like. Well, I love the McDonald's scene because it's just the most '80s thing
That part
That's
is
great.
ever.
unhinged.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's just
Yeah.
and when I say it's my favorite. It's not a positive. I like it because it goes so wrong
Yeah.
and it's chaos and it's like, what'll save the day? Dance.
Yeah,
Like
that was
that's
the point
just
in the movie where they just lost all control.
right.
That's too funny. Yeah. Well, I feel like is there more you want to talk about in regards to the film?
Mm. It's the first time we've done this when we're right in the middle of it.
No worries.
I do want
go ahead.
the other, like, again with the casting, like I think what's making it hard for me to like is there's so many actors in it. I like it. So not just Melinda Dillon and Gary McTavish, but Ronnie Cox
Mhm.
from RoboCop, who's like one of the greatest villains ever, and then Ned Beatty,
Crazy.
whose younger character I don't even want to talk about because I've never been so conflicted about making fun of somebody in a movie in my life. You'll see it when
Who's
we
a
get to it.
child,
It was a
especially.
child. I should say is a child actor, but it's just like
Yeah.
bewildering that's the cut they went with.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And I just stopped there because I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want to.
Don't
I'm sorry.
talk about
I don't want to spoil it, but I don't want to talk about it.
I prefer
Both
the
of
thought
those.
of you being upset and you don't want to talk about it.
Well, we had this big
Yeah.
talk. We had this big talk of like, how do we make jokes out of this scene? Because we don't want to. We're not like ripping into a movie just to rip into it. But
Yeah.
it's really asking for it. It's really like it's like, come on, hey, I'll let it's like that guy in the mall who wants to fight goes, come on, I'll let you hit me first.
um I had a question about, so we've kind of alluded to the fact that this is going to be at Texas Theater. Can you talk a little bit about like, where to get tickets and things like that too?
Yeah. We go to thetexastheater.com or texastheater.com. Or we have a shortened link that you just takes you right to the ticket page. You can go to bit.ly/mockthecap. That's the best I could come up with. I was like Captain of Mocky or like, no, that doesn't really roll off the tongue.
Yeah.
Mocky America. No, that sounds like a telethon. Mock the Cap. BITLY/mock the cap will take you to the ticket page, or you go to mockyhorror.com and follow us, and find a link there.
Right.
And we're
Awesome.
always posting stuff.
Yeah, look forward to it. You guys' shows are always a good time, so I've
Thank you.
definitely really enjoyed
Thanks
it.
so much.
We enjoy
Yeah.
doing your show.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you guys have anything else that you want to plug, or anything else that you wanted to?
Again, we're going to do Mac and Me on August 31st.
Yeah.
The ticket page isn't up yet, but it will. By the time this comes out, I'm sure it'll be up. And we're going to add new. We've kind of found, I think, our niche with the last two shows with editing jokes, which I have to give Albie and Liz credit for, because they came up with this. For Mac and Me, there's a joke where we put a song over the movie, and ever since then we're like, what if we put this in then? And then I started learning we started learning After Effects, so we can like literally put images in the screen that can kind of like just play with the movie.
Nice.
So when you see Mac and Me, it'll have all new audience jokes and all new edit jokes, as we call them.
Nice.
And surprises and other things.
Great.
Oh, and a new intro too.
Oh, nice.
We need to.
Nice.
We are shooting an intro for this that's very Marvel-esque.
I love it. Now, do you guys have your own website as well?
Yeah, mockyhorror.com. Well, that takes you to our Facebook page, but it will be a website at some point.
Nice. Okay. Well, was there anything else that you wanted to cover? Did I skip over too fast? Was there more on the movie that we haven't chatted through yet? I didn't want to say too much since you've only seen.
Not on this movie. We could talk about how we could talk about the last show.
Sure.
The Reefer Madness show. So we did a 420 show, and we can talk about this now, guys. Talking to Liz and Albie. It's funny now. It wasn't at the time. So we did.
Oh no.
You weren't there for it.
It was funny then as well.
Well, I mean, it was situationally funny until everything got cleared out. I don't think you were there for this.
No, it wasn't.
Okay, so it's just a fun little story, just a kind of like adventures in comedy dumb kind of thing. So we brought back Reefer Madness. We're starting the cool part with the Texas Theater now is we're doing new movies, but we can bring back movies we've done, like, and do them a second time, and which is a lot of fun because we get to revisit them and rewrite new bits. We don't rewrite the whole show, but we get to add stuff to it. And in April, I realized that Thursday fell on a 420, and I was like, let's do a Reefer Madness 420 special. And so we cooked up an intro idea where we run out of a room. There's a little room next to the theater screen. We're like, what if we run out of the room and smoke just pours out? And it's like, hey, we were getting high. And so I'm like, I've never seen a special effect prop I didn't want to buy. So it was like a perfect excuse to buy a smoke machine. And we asked everybody, is it cool if we do this, so on and so forth, and everyone was like, yeah, it's cool. Like, it's not, you're not going to start a real fire. And I'm like, no, it's like fog, smoke. I thought I knew how smoke detectors worked. Is the preface. So I go in the room and I start smoking up the room. And Chad, our projectionist, looks up and goes, it's not going to set that thing off, is it? And I'm like, no, it's not real smoke. but I've since learned the way smoke detectors work is they don't actually smell smoke. Smoke
Really?
detectors, there's some kind of radioactive material that like shoots back and forth, and when a visible gas interrupts that signal, that's what causes it to go off. I know that now because the smoke machine set the fire alarm off like 2 seconds after we run out. And we're like, we're ready to start the show. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Mocky Horror.
Oh my gosh.
And
Oh my gosh, that was crazy.
And I'm just standing, and me, Mr. Improv, I'm like, I have no idea what to do now, which is the absolute thing you're not supposed to say when you have to keep an audience's attention for an extended period of time. And poor Chad is like already running around, and we're like, our show is like a break for him. Now he has to run down the stairs to tell them it's just a smoke machine, run back up, and it was funny, but I'm freaking out the whole time because I'm like I did I break a city ordinance?
Yeah, that was going to
Like-
be my question. Like, what if that called the fire department? Like that
Well-
is.
It did.
they
It
came
did.
in.
Oh.
Three
The
guys
firefighters
came
came
jogging
in.
in with full gear.
Oh no.
And we're just trying to riff with the audience and just kind of like just keep them in their seats.
You're like hee hee.
And we did as good a job as you can do in that situation. I'm too hard on myself. But yeah, then literally 2 firefighters walk into the room and I'm like, we're dead. like I have to tell the audience this was not they're actual firefighters.
Oh my gosh.
We did not plan this.
Oh no.
And then it just occurred to me, I was like, why did I think smoke in a movie theater? You're not allowed to yell fire in a crowded theater. And I've created one of the elements of fire in a movie theater.
Yeah, and that doesn't always happen with the fog machine because like I know at the last job that I had, we did like a pretend, we like took Halloween too far at that job to where we weren't working and we were so focused on it. And I remember we made like a pretend haunted house in like one room and we all were different monsters. I was Freddy Krueger. And we had a fog machine, and then my husband and I have used a fog machine at home before. Like there's a way to do it without it setting off the fire alarm, but I guess maybe it depends on the type of building you're in and like how sensitive the detectors are.
I think it's just you have a bigger room, there's less chance it's going to go up to the ceiling.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I decided to start a smoke in the smallest room possible in a movie theater. And by the way,
you were trying to hotbox.
We opened the door. You couldn't see the damn smoke. Like the bit didn't work.
Oh no.
The fog machine was crap.
Did the show go on? I mean,
it did.
Okay.
The upside is like it went off without a hitch after that. Like
good.
Like we had an awesome show and the audience loved it. And then 3 days later I was able to we're like, it's it's fine. Everybody understands what happened. Nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Because I was like waiting to wake up one morning and then hear a knock on my door and they're like, somebody's gonna start reading me my rights. Because that's just where my mind goes when I worry.
Yeah, you seem like a very law-abiding citizen then. If it's worried you that much.
So,
we
but yeah,
also had a guy we had our first sponsor that night with a CBD.
Oh yes.
Hopefully, it's okay if I talk about this.
Yeah.
And it was he said it's legal and but that kind of stuff you never know. And so we're passing out this stuff.
You guys are like me. I'm just such a worrier. That's awesome.
I think
that's a good story though.
I think that drink was the only thing that got me to sleep that night because I was so freaked out that I was like, why didn't I stop? Why didn't I think about that?
You got so freaked out at such a chill event. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. And I mean,
exactly.
The cool part is that was our Apollo 13 moment.
Yeah,
that was our finest hour kind of thing.
Happened. The night had already been pretty harrowing. A
Right.
lot had gone wrong up until that point. So that was just the icing on a crazy cake.
There's one other funny part. I gotta mention this. So our buddy Roy Buckingham, who's a big supporter of our show, that was his. Yeah, and he just the Reefer Madness show was his first show. There's a theater downstairs,
right?
and they were showing Evil Dead Rise
Nice.
on opening night. Well, when the fire alarm goes off in a movie theater, the projectors shut down.
Oh no.
And so Roy is telling, and I don't, thankfully Roy is he doesn't tell me this until after the movie, thank Christ. He's like, we were watching the movie and it got to the end, and I guess there's like a title card at the very end before the credits start. And it's Evil Dead Rise. I haven't seen it, but I've heard it's very scary and like very unnerving. So they've sat through this like 2-hour, nerve test, and then the Evil Dead Rise title card screens, and then the screen just cuts to black, and all the lights go out. And he's like, that was the scariest part of the movie.
He said everybody screamed in unison.
He said everybody screamed in unison, and
I forgot about that.
And I'm
just so funny.
And again, I'm already like just nervous as hell. Like we're dead. I've gotten us in trouble, and now I've literally scared people. I've like tried. Oh God. So again, all that happened, and we still did a show.
That is too funny.
We still did one of our best shows, in my opinion.
Yeah, it got all the jitters out of the way, like you said. You're just kind of like, well,
fun once we got going.
Yes.
Yeah, you're like, okay, my stage fright is gone. I'm here, and let's continue. Because
I tend to like tell the bad stories, and then Mark Walters reminded me, no, now you've got a story. Like, y'all still did the show, right? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, that's the story. Like, y'all came out. Like, I'm a very negative person. He's like, y'all finished the show. Y'all almost, you created a panic and still got to do a comedy show. Like, that's amazing.
True. Yeah.
So I have to tell myself that anytime I'm like, this isn't going to work, or I'm like nervous about it, I'm like, we set off a fire alarm and still did a show. Like,
pretty amazing.
You're committed,
you can't be more committed to a show than that.
That's great.
You can't be more what's the term? I'm stretching resilient. This out. You can't be yes. We are as resilient as we'll ever or as resilient as you can be for a show. Like, it almost didn't happen, and then it happened.
Yeah. And it makes for a good story, like you said. I love that.
Feel free to cut that up, because
oh no, you're fine. No, you're fine. I look forward to this coming out, and like I said, I love y'all's show. I love what you're doing, and it's a lot of fun. I encourage people that are listening to, head over to the Texas Theater website and check it out, and also follow them on social media as well, so you can see where they are if you missed that show and want to catch future ones. I really appreciate you guys making time, to be on my show and to talk about this movie. I enjoyed watching it. Like I said, maybe it wasn't the best movie, but there were things to love, and I'm sure, watching y'all show live will make me love it even more. So thank you.
Yeah, and you've always been a huge supporter of us, and you're
absolutely.
You're a big part of the reason that we get to do these kinds of movies now. So we
really
appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I wish the fire alarm would go off right now.
That would be so funny.
I was seriously like thinking about lighting a cigarette and just holding it up to the.
Well, please don't get the cops. Actually,
it's my house. What can they do?
Exactly. Like, it's your domain. It's fine. Turn the fog machine on. That sets it off. So, but yeah, look forward to having y'all back soon.
Thanks.
Thanks so much.
Thanks so much for having us on.
Cool.